In a time long forgotten in the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name would echo through the ages, a man named Job. He was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and turned away from evil. Job's life was a testament to divine blessing. He had been given 7 sons and 3 daughters, a family filled with joy and laughter. His wealth was unmatched. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys. His servants numbered in the hundreds. Job was the greatest man among all the people of the East. His sons would take turns hosting feasts, inviting their 3 sisters to celebrate together in their homes. And when the days of feasting ended, Job would rise early in the morning and offer burnt sacrifices for each of his children. Perhaps my children have sinned. He would think, perhaps they have cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's practice, always concerned for the spiritual well-being of those he loved. Always faithful, always devoted. Far above the earth in the courts of heaven, a scene was unfolding that Job could not see. The angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and among them came Satan, the adversary, the accuser. The Lord looked upon Satan and asked, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered with a sneer,
"From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it."
Then the Lord said, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil." Satan's response dripped with contempt.
"Does Job fear God? For nothing have you not put a hedge of protection around him and his household? And everything he has, you have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face."
The Lord's reply was measured deliberate very well. "Then everything he has is in your power, but on the man himself do not lay a finger." And so the test began. One ordinary day, Job sat in his home, unaware that his world was about to shatter. A messenger burst through the door, breathless, frantic. The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby when the Sabaeans attacked and took them away. They put the servants to the sword. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. Before Job could process this devastating news, another messenger arrived, his face pale with horror. The fire of God fell from the heavens and burned up the sheep and the servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. Job's heart began to race, but there was no time to grieve. Yet another messenger rushed in. The Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on your camels. They took them all and put the servants to the sword. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. And then, the final blow. The messenger who would deliver the news that would break any father's heart. Your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert. It struck the 4 corners of the house. The house collapsed on them. They are all dead. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. The silence that followed was deafening. In a single day, Job had lost everything, his wealth, his livelihood, his servants, and most unbearable of all, his 10 children, every son, every daughter gone. Job stood slowly. He tore his robe, the ancient sign of mourning. He shaved his head, and then he did something that defied all human logic. He fell to the ground in worship. "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all this, in the midst of unimaginable grief, Job did not sin. He did not charge God with wrongdoing. But the test was not over. Once again, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord. And once again, Satan came among them. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?"
From roaming throughout the earth,
Satan replied,
going back and forth on it.
"Have you considered my servant Job?" The Lord asked, "There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason." Skin for skin, Satan shot back.
A man will give all he has for his own life, but stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face.
"Very well," the Lord said, "he is in your hands, but you must spare his life." Satan left the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes, his body covered in agony, his spirit crushed under the weight of suffering. His wife looked at him with eyes full of despair. "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." Job's response was gentle but firm. "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. When Job's 3 friends heard about the calamity that had befallen him, they came from their distant homes: Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. They had agreed to meet together to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. But when they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. This broken, suffering man, could this really be Job? They began to weep aloud, tearing their robes and sprinkling dust on their heads. Then they sat down on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word, because they saw how great his suffering was. After 7 days of silence, Job finally opened his mouth, and the words that came out were filled with anguish. "May the day of my birth perish, and the night that said a boy is conceived. May that day turn to darkness. May God above not care about it, may no light shine on it. Why is light given to those in misery and life, to the bitter of soul, to those who long for death that does not come? Why is life given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in?" His friends were troubled by his words, and one by one they began to speak. Eliphaz was first. "Consider now, who being innocent has ever perished. The innocent prosper, Job, your suffering must be because of some sin." Then Bildad spoke, "Does God pervert justice? If you are pure and upright, surely then he will rouse himself on your behalf." Zophar added his voice, "You talk too much, Job. If only you would be silent, repent, and God will restore you." But Job defended himself. "I am blameless." He said, "I have done nothing wrong. Why must I suffer this way? My heart is pure before God." The debate continued. Round after round, Job's friends insisted that suffering only comes to the wicked, that God punishes sin and rewards righteousness. They could not conceive of a world where the innocent suffer, where the righteous face unexplained trials. Job maintained his innocence, crying out for answers. "I am blameless," he declared. "I have done nothing to deserve this. My heart is pure before God." The tension mounted as each man held firmly to his position, unable to see beyond their limited understanding. Job's friends meant well, but their words became weapons. Their comfort turned to accusation. Yet despite everything, despite the accusations, despite the pain, despite feeling abandoned, Job's faith remained. "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him," he declared. "I will surely defend my ways to his face." And then, in his darkest hour, Job spoke words of hope that would echo through the ages. I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end, he will stand on the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh, I will see God. I, myself, will see him with my own eyes. I, and not another, how my heart yearns within me. Even in his darkest hour, even when God seemed silent, Job held on to hope. Then the sky began to darken, clouds gathered thick and black, swirling with power, lightning split the heavens, and thunder rolled across the land. Job stood in the midst of a mighty storm, feeling the raw, untamed power of creation itself. And then, from within the whirlwind came the voice of the Almighty. Who is this that obscures my plans with words? Without knowledge, brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand who marked off its dimensions. Surely you know who stretched a measuring line across it. On what were its footings set? Who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sang together, and all the angels shouted for joy. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades? Can you loosen Orion's belt? Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you set up God's dominion over the earth? Who provides food for the raven when its young cry out to God? Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Do you watch when the doe bears her fawn? Will the wild ox consent to serve you? Can you hold it to the furrow with a harness? Do you give the horse its strength, or clothe its neck with a flowing mane? It paws fiercely, rejoicing in its strength, and charges into the fray. It laughs at fear, afraid of nothing. Does the hawk take flight by your wisdom? Does the eagle soar at your command and build its nest on high? Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, and which feeds on grass like an ox. What strength it has in its loins, what power in the muscles of its belly. Its tail sways like a cedar. The sinews of its thighs are close-knit. Its bones are tubes of bronze, its limbs like rods of iron. It ranks first among the works of God, yet its maker can approach it with his sword. The hills bring it their produce, and all the wild animals play nearby under the lotus plants. It lies hidden among the weeds of the marsh. The lotuses conceal it in their shadow. The poplars by the stream surround it. A raging river does not harm. It is secure, though the Jordan should surge against its mouth. Can you pull in Leviathan with a fishhook, or tie down its tongue with a rope? Can you put a cord through its nose, or pierce its jaw with a hook? Will it keep begging you for mercy? Will it speak to you with gentle words? Will it make an agreement with you for you to take it as your slave for life? Can you make a pet of it like a bird, or put it on a leash? For the young women in your house will traders barter for it. Will they divide it up among the merchants? Can you fill its hide with harpoons, or its head with fishing spears? If you lay a hand on it, you will remember the struggle and never do it again. Any hope of subduing it is false. The mere sight of it is overpowering. No one is fierce enough to rouse it. Who then is able to stand against me? Who then is able to stand against me? Who has a claim against me that I must pay? Everything under heaven belongs to me. The Lord continued revealing the mysteries of creation, the wonders of the natural world, the intricate balance of all things, each question driving home the vast chasm between the Creator and the created. Job stood humbled, overwhelmed by the magnificence of God. I am unworthy, he whispered. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer, twice, but I will say no more. But the Lord was not finished. He spoke again from the storm, displaying his might, his power, his sovereignty over all creation. Finally, Job responded with words that came from the deepest place of his soul. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore, I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. After the Lord had spoken to Job, he turned to Eliphaz. I am angry with you and your 2 friends, because you have not spoken the truth about me. As my servant, Job has taken 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and sacrifice a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar did what the Lord commanded them, and the Lord accepted Job's prayer. Job, the one they had accused, Job, the one they had judged, prayed for his friends, and God heard his prayer. And then the restoration began, a restoration more complete, more beautiful than Job could have ever imagined. The Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. His wealth was doubled, his herds multiplied, his life rebuilt from the ashes of tragedy. All his brothers and sisters, everyone who had known him before, came to his house. They sat with him and ate together. They comforted him and consoled him over all the trouble the Lord had allowed to come upon him, and each person gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring, tokens of love, gestures of restoration. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life. Even more than the former, he gave him 14,000 sheep grazing on 1,000 hills. He gave him 6,000 camels, strong and sure-footed. He gave him 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 donkeys, and his household was filled with faithful servants. But the greatest blessing, the most precious gift, was yet to come. God gave Job 7 more sons and 3 more daughters, a new family to love, to cherish, to raise in the fear of the Lord. The first daughter he named Jemimah, the second Keziah, and the third Keren-Happuch. Nowhere in all the land were there found women as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father granted them an inheritance along with their brothers. After this, Job lived 140 years. He saw his children and their children to the 4th generation, and so Job died an old man and full of years. The story of Job stands as an eternal testament to faith that endures, to trust that persists in the darkness, to the mystery of God's ways that surpass our understanding. Job did not receive all the answers he sought, but he received something far greater. He encountered God himself. Through Job's journey, we learn that suffering is not always punishment, that the righteous may face unexplained trials, that faith is not about understanding everything, but about trusting the one who does, and that even in our darkest moments, God is still sovereign, still good, still worthy of our worship. Job's life challenges our shallow answers, our demand for simple explanations. It reminds us that God's thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and his ways higher than our ways. May we have the courage to trust like Job, to worship in the storm, to hold fast to faith when everything else is stripped away. And may we remember that the same God who spoke to Job from the whirlwind is with us in our trials, watching over us, loving us, working all things for purposes we may not yet see. For the Lord is faithful, and his love endures forever.